We are officially entering the Military Academy Night Market Food Street. Let's see how you react to a food street that hasn't even started its business hours yet. This is a large park divided into different designated zones. The food street is the first part we are passing through. Only a few individual stalls have started selling early, probably because they need to prep their ingredients anyway. So they might as well sell what they can. For most of them, it's still too early for official business hours. So you can all see it now. This is what it looks like after all those food stalls, usually so brightly lit and bustling at night, have shut down for the day. What left the deepest impression on me was a stall selling grilled starch sausages. They have to pre-fry them first, and then fry or grill them again when you buy them. At least that's how it seems. I'm not sure why they pre-fry them. Maybe it's just to serve the food faster when it gets busy. That was the spot we just passed. If you were here, you'd definitely catch the smell. At least for me, I don't really consider it a pleasant food aroma. It's way too sharp and pungent. It really hits you in the head. Right next to the food street is a pet market. Let me show you the current living conditions of the animals here. Generally speaking, the living standards in a pet market are somewhat better than those in a dog farm. In most cases, cats have better living conditions than dogs. Likewise, the environment for small dogs tends to be better than that for large breeds. In reality, the conditions for rodents and birds are the most crowded, and they are also the most likely to be overlooked. Because I've seen the dog farms where they breed large dogs. They are called dog farms, but in reality, they are just abandoned courtyards in villages, filled with cages both indoors and out. Of course, being indoors doesn't necessarily mean the environment is any better. They are simply making use of whatever space is available. What they are fed is absolutely miserable. They eat swill. Yes, that's right, swill. The leftover scraps collected from restaurants is incredibly high in oil, salt, and sugar. I once saw an adult white Central Asian shepherd with both eyes so red and swollen they were almost glued shut by discharge. On its nose, there was a wound. I couldn't tell if it was from a fight or a scratch from the cage wires. It just sat there like that, with no one caring at all. As long as they don't catch a major disease, nobody bothers to help them. When it first arrived in that cage, it would always bark at me. But after seeing me a couple of times, and since its neighbor was an Alaskan Malamute that loved being petted, it eventually started letting me pet it too. Before it came, this cage belonged to another Alaskan. I heard that Alaskan fell ill, was taken to the hospital, but didn't make it. That one didn't like me petting it, but I didn't dislike it. It only lived to be 2.5 years old. Later on, that Central Asian and his Alaskan neighbor were sold. I never saw them again. Even if I did run into them, I might not even recognize them anymore. Look over here. This is where they sell little birds. And some rodents whose names I didn't even know. These are just the display cages. The ones used to transport them are incredibly cramped. It's even worse for the dogs during transport. Many of them can't even stand up straight or lay down properly. I recall filming a dead hamster that had been half eaten by the others. The smell of this little Labrador makes me suspect it's either unhealthy or has been eating its own droppings. The living conditions for cats are generally much better than those for dogs, by a long shot. At the same time, I don't trust the dog food sold here in the market. Back then, I used to make it all myself. The golden retriever playing by itself, chewing on its paw. These two digging around for something. The market is only this big. We're heading out and straight back to the food street. After seeing all this, would you still have an appetite for the food here? I'm not talking about the pet market. I mean, after seeing the food street in this state, would you still have any appetite for what they are selling here? I used to drink mutton soup quite often, but nowadays I won't touch it easily. There was a mutton soup stall just now. There's no way I'm drinking that. I forgot to tell you about the oil they used for the sausages. The sausages were piled up in there like a mountain, and the bubbles in the oil looked as if someone had added laundry detergent. When you've deep fried that much stuff, the oil is bound to end up looking like that. It's just that I don't feel like eating it. It's fine to have some once in a while if you absolutely have to, but I'd rarely go out of my way to crave it. Of course, I wouldn't be so bored as to go and report them. The fact that is ran its way is clearly a natural balance reached by the market. If they changed the oil more often, they'd have to charge more, and customers might not buy into that. Besides, they aren't doing anything behind people's backs. Everything is out in the open. If customers choose to buy it, it's their own choice. They are just looking for something cheap. We've done a full circle and are heading back to the Military Academy Square. Those buildings on the left, they are fakes, not the original structures. What I want to show you is this bicycle parking area. It's specifically for bikes and electric scooters. You probably won't find anything like this in other countries. To be honest, it's much more efficient than driving a car. It's just not nearly as comfortable. You are freezing in the winter and roasting in the summer. The sign at the parking area says staff only. I guess is where all the people working at the square or the underground supermarket park their bikes. For someone in a job like that, buying a car would really mean having to tighten their belt. Take a look at the square. This is the view from the south end looking north. The wide angle shot makes it look quite deserted, but in reality, it's not that bad. You don't feel like people are actually that far away from each other. You can hear the music playing. Is either people doing square dancing or someone singing karaoke? Over where the lights are flashing is either the armed police or the public security officers. They are on duty over there. This little white electric car with the flashing lights is definitely being used for personal business. I just saw him a moment ago, and now he's picked up an elderly lady. People like that must have a massive sense of entitlement.